Hello, my name is Ashley Reed, and today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of understanding your contract. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. Number one, you need to understand your contract and what your responsibilities are. So generally speaking, when you have an AST, which is a different contract to a company-let contract, the landlord is responsible for all the white goods. That's your washing machine, that's your oven, that's your cooker. They are responsible. However, you're going to be taking out a company let. This is a different contract. You are responsible for all the white goods. So what happens if something goes wrong with your cooker, with your washing machine? Who's going to fix it? It's going to be you. So now you've got to do the numbers. Well, if something goes wrong and I've got to pay for it, that goes against your profit, right? Which we want to avoid. So how do we avoid these things? We can't tell guests not to use these things because it's here to be used. So what we advise you to do in these cases is get insurance. The insurance might cost you £20 a month, £30 a month. However, what will happen if something goes wrong? You make a phone call, they come out, they repair it, they either repair it or you can get insurances where it actually replace it. Now, I personally use British Gas. I find them to be really good. But some people have told me they've had a bad experience. I've never really had a bad experience, but you may have. So shop around, find the best insurance company, but get your white goods insured because they are your responsibility. Now, another thing you have to think about as well is the boiler. Now, with a company let, the boiler is the landlord's responsibility. It's down to them to make sure that that boiler is in good condition and is in working order. However, you know what it's like. I complained on Monday, it's now Friday, nothing's happened. Anything can happen. Sometimes landlords can be really good. And remember, it's not really the landlord's fault. It's the plumber or the person they put entrusted to come down to the property and you know how busy they are. So you don't want to have to spend the money yourself out of your own pocket, because if it's a 5k repair or a 2k repair, that shouldn't come from you. But this is what will happen. If you have a property where something's happened to the boiler or hot water or the heater and something's happened and you pay for it, the landlord can turn around and say, well, I'm not reimbursing you because I didn't authorize it. So now you have to swallow it. So how do we prevent you having to take on that responsibility? What you need to do, once again, get it insured. With your white goods, it might cost you £20, £30 a month. But if something happens, call out, they're here the next day. You're in control of it. You want to be in control of these things because even though your contract will state it is the landlord's responsibility to look after the boiler, if you want it done straight away, do it yourself, is the bottom line. However, inform your landlord there's been an issue and get compensation. It's £65. Yeah? With British Gas, it costs £65 for a call out. State to the landlord there's been an issue, you have insurance, but the boiler is your responsibility, so therefore I need you to send me £65 so I can get the boiler repaired. Because on your contract, it is their responsibility. You need to be aware of this, because these things, they can happen and they do happen. Now, another thing that's going to be in your contract that is different to a normal AST is missed payments. If you have an AST, so an AST is when you're going to live in the property. If you live in the property and you don't pay your rent for 6 months, the landlord can't kick you out. With a company let, if you don't make your payments after 10 days, they will change the locks, you lose all your money, and that is it, it is done. Game is over. Do not miss payments on your company let. You don't want to find this out the hard way. The landlord's well within his rights, if you do not make any payment after 10 days or when your payment is due, to evict you. And any money that you have paid for that property and any goods inside the property no longer belongs to you. Also, if you're 1 day late, 2 days late, the landlord can charge you interest. Yeah, could be 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever it may be, whatever you've agreed. Do not miss payments on your contract, because it is your responsibility to make sure that these payments are made every single month on time. Like I said, with an AST, where you're living in a property, you could not pay your rent for 6, 7, 8 months and not be affected. But this is not an AST contract. This is a company let contract. It is totally different and you need to be made aware of it. So remember, the white goods are your responsibility, but the boiler is the landlord's responsibility. Just get insurance. It just saves all the hassle. The insurance can be and is a lifesaver. Make sure you pay your rent on time. If you don't pay your rent on time and you go past 10 days, the property no longer belongs to you. It will be in your contract. So make sure you read it and you understand that part of your contract. Now, another thing you have to be fully aware of is all the bills in your Airbnb is your responsibility. This is where we need to start thinking about common sense. You take on a property, the gas bill is your responsibility, the electricity bill is your responsibility, the council tax or the business rates is your responsibility. It is not the responsibility of the landlord. So you have to be organized and make sure that you're on top of these things. Make sure you make these payments on time also, because they are your responsibility. Once again, as I said, you have to start thinking about common sense. If you have a property, the water bill, the water rates, everything, it is down to you to make these payments. Make sure you make these payments and make sure you make these payments on time. Now, there are other elements to contracts that you have to think about, but I've just named the main things that I know is going to be in your contract that you need to be aware of. So for instance, break clauses. You need to be thinking about break clauses. So you can have a 1-year break clause, a 6-month break clause, a 3-year break clause, however long your contract is. What a break clause is, it means this. If I take your property for 3 years, in 1 year I put a break clause in there, it means in 1 year I can do written notice to the landlord to state I no longer want to take on this property and I wish to leave and exit the contract. Once I've done that, he would either repay me back my deposit or any money that's owed back to me, and I've walked clean and I'm away. That's why we have a break clause, because you may want to exit your agreement early. Yeah. So make sure you understand what the break clause means, when your break clause is, and make sure you put in writing that you wish to exit your agreement if you wish to do so. But remember, any money you've invested, any money you put in is gone. So I've made this video especially for people that want to understand their contracts and how it works, and I've named some of the main things that will be in your contract, but there's going to be other things. So if you're with us and we're analyzing the contracts for you or with you, we will point out certain things. However, we highly recommend you speaking to a solicitor if you have a more complex contract that's using words and terminologies that you may not understand, because you need to make sure that you are protected. We do provide you contracts, and obviously we've written those contracts with a solicitor and we understand those contracts. But if the landlord is giving you a contract, they could put things in there to protect themselves and not necessarily protect you. So we will help you look at those contracts, but we do advise that to take advice from a solicitor in regards to any contract, because once you sign that contract, it is bound. That is it. You've agreed to it and everything's on there. That is your responsibility. One last thing I'm going to mention, however, is the building. The building that you have taken your Airbnb in is the responsibility of the landlord. Yeah. So if there's a leak in the ceiling coming from the roof, coming into your property, that's not down for you to repair, and it's not down to you to repair the damage. It's down to the landlord to do that. So bear that in mind also. But guys, I wanted to share this information with you because I want to make sure you're aware. But don't worry, if you're with us, we are going to support you and we're going to make sure that you're going to, these things don't happen. But this video is to give you the information that we know that you're going to need on your journey of becoming an Airbnb host. I hope that helps. Have any questions, any queries, get through to us. You know how to contact us.